What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Cocktails in the War Room, episode 184, believe it or not. I am your host, Mistress Carrie. Welcome to my war room. This is the craziness that continues to be Cocktails in the War Room. 184 episodes later. This all started back on March 14th of 2020. We did 80 nights in a row to ride out the beginning of what we thought was going to be a few months of flattening the curve, and more than 2 years later, here we are. Cocktails in the War Room turned into a weekly show right around the time that we launched the Mistress Carrie podcast. And through it all, I have had a co-host, a partner in crime, someone that has kept me company through it all. Welcome, Wednesday the Goth Pug. You can follow her on Instagram. She's wound up tonight and was early for the show, actually. Came in here, sat down literally in her spot and was like ready to go. And was like, what do you mean the show's not ready yet? And I was like, well, it's 7:30. It's not time for the show yet, dear. But she's ready to go. Hey, you got to back up a little, down. Someone got a manicure today, and she's been wound up ever since she got her little nails cut today. So what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Cocktails in the War Room. Roger says 184. I know, it's totally crazy. What's up, Kathleen? Travis is here. Let's see. Donna's here. Michelle, Tracy joining us. Alexis, Jonathan, Will, Christine is here. William is also here. Sit down. Sit down. If you're new to Cocktails in the War Room, you got to let me know so that we can welcome you properly. So if this is the first time that you've joined us for a cocktail, you got to let us know in the comments that this is your first episode, and also let us know where you're joining us from so that we can properly welcome you. And by we, I mean the War Room family, which is everybody that's been with me since the beginning, since episode 1. And you can go back and watch the older episodes because they are all up on my YouTube channel, and they are all up in chronological order at MistressCarrie.com. So Trina, Karen is here, Ash, Timothy, Annette is joining us, Brian is here. Brianna says she knows that she's looking good and those toes are feeling fancy. She did not get polish. I just wanted to, it's hard enough cutting them, and I will tell you, I got the clippers, but then I got the grinding wheel thing, and Paul says kicking it in the 401, nice! Joining us from down in Rhode Island, our neighbors to the south. Where's the ducking stingray? Joe wants to know. The stingray is around here somewhere. Wednesday, you guys know she has this giant. Come on, you got to move over and sit down. Down. Can I have a high five? Can I have a paw? Can I have the other paw? No, I want this paw. Thank you. Those are sharp. There you go. Okay, that's it. Their cookies are all gone. They're all gone. So you're just going to have to sit and wait. No, you can't have that. We're doing a little Fernandez tonight. Cheers to you guys. Oh yeah, it's so good. What were we talking about? Oh, that all the episodes are up at MistressCarrie.com. You can check out the very early ones from way back when none of this technology was available, and we were just on a cell phone. And now we've got all the technology in the world. So if you're new to the War Room, Donna says, welcome from the 401 and New Hampshire, the ducking stingray. Oh, that's what we're talking about, the ducking stingray. So Wednesday's got that big giant basket that's full of all the toys that you guys have bought her over the last couple of years. And as I pick them up, as I do every night, and just kind of throw them all in the basket because I know the next day she's just going to trash it all over again, the basket kind of gets all mixed up. And so sometimes toys end up on the bottom of the basket and then stuff gets put on top. And she dives headfirst into the basket looking specifically for very specific toys. And so like last week, she found the ducking stingray again for the first time in a while. It's not that she doesn't love it. It got buried in the basket, and now she's been playing with it all over again. So we did kill a couple crinkle toys, though. One of the unicorns, the rainbow unicorn crinkles, is finally deceased. And the giant bunny, I've got some great video that I need to put up on her Instagram. That giant pink bunny, she had it by the face. and was dragging it around the house, and it's kind of hilarious. Joshua says, New Hampshire in the house. We all need a little full Fernandez, says Mark. Don't we all? There is evidence now, says Joe. Where is the pink bunny? Denise, I'm telling you, I got to show you guys the video of the pink bunny because it's freaking hilarious. I'm sending 4 more toys this week, says Donna. Oh my God, what about the porn pig? You know what? I don't know where the porn pig is. It's got to be in the basket because literally every night I go around the house, pick up all of her toys except the favorite. And then she's got like a little cheetah that she's had since she was little. And that only stays in her crate with her, the cheetah. And we call it her kitty. And she snuggles with her kitty at night. And then the favorite is always around because you don't fuck with the favorite. You know, there are life rules. You never go for the Cheez-It and you don't fuck with the favorite. Let's see. The penis pig. Yeah. The penis pig. I thought the penis pig died. Did the penis pig not die? She may have killed it or at least taken the penis off. I'm not really sure. What's up, Michelle? Will says aliens are real. Yeah. There's a lot of talk about the alien stuff right now, about how there are, elected officials coming out now saying that they've seen evidence. It's one of those things where it's like we've all, and when I say all, like I know not everyone, but I'm open obviously to the possibility about aliens. We've talked about it on the show before. But one of the reasons why I think that if there is evidence, if there have been visits, if there is a crash site, I mean, I've been to Roswell, New Mexico. There are a lot of people there that will just look you dead in the eye and be like, aliens are real. They come here all the time. They crashed. People have seen it. I interviewed the guy that runs the UFO museum there. He was an undertaker's assistant way back at the original crash site, says he supplied coffins for bodies. I mean, but one of the things has always been, how would the religions of the world that control, almost all of the inhabitants of Earth, no matter the religion, whether you're Christian, Jewish, Muslim, whatever it is, that all of the religions of the world except Scientology, that the existence of alien spacecraft or any of that would kind of uproot all of their teachings. And so that's always been a theory that if evidence of life outside of Earth ever came out, that it would be a problem for the world's religions. And so that's why we don't know yet. But Jonathan says, I've seen UFOs here in Holden. Brito says, I know they're real. I've been probed before. I need more information on the probing. What's up, Keith? Keith says, what's up, fuckers? UFOs are weird and creepy, and I'm not as crazy as people think I am, says Trina. Roswell is very cool, says Paula. I love the UFO-shaped McDonald's. Yeah, Roswell is a very cool place. If you ever go on a road trip, and you're going to be anywhere near Roswell, Roswell is totally worth the stop. It's kind of like Salem is to Halloween, where it's just kind of everywhere. Like UFOs are kind of everywhere. Matter of fact, I'm on a station for Westwood One down there, and the station's called The Crash, and their logo is like a crash landed UFO for the radio station. So it's, it's really kind of cool to see the way that the whole town has just kind of embraced the fact that, that's why Roswell is on the map. So, let's see. Vito, that was just a drunk night in a bar bathroom, she says. Exeter, New Hampshire has a UFO festival that lasts a week every summer. See, I would love to go to that. That sounds really cool. We need Will Smith to nuke E.T. No, we need Jeff Goldblum. Okay, let's be honest. It was his idea to go up and download the virus in the mothership. Okay, don't give all the credit to Will Smith. He couldn't have done it without Jeff Goldblum. So beware going down to Roswell during the summer. Yeah, why? Is it 10,000 degrees? I was there in February, and it was quite nice, actually. Karen says, thanks so much for providing all of these episodes. You helped me so much during the early stages of the pandemic every Tuesday night. Missed out on a lot of the episodes over the past year due to non-COVID health issues. Well, Karen, we're happy that you're here with us tonight. I want to give you guys a COVID update, actually, because I was telling you last week that COVID finally found its way into my house. And I wanted to give you guys an update. And I apologize to everyone with a Mistress Carrie Backstage Pass for not updating you guys first and kind of filling you in on what was going on. But since last week's episode, things have been really, really crazy. So first of all, I told you guys last week that my mom and my sister tested positive for COVID and that they were both quarantining in my mom's apartment, and that I was kind of taking care of them, cooking all their meals. Thankfully, the weather cooperated because mom's apartment is attached by a deck. So we were able to kind of put stuff outside and take dirty dishes and let them sit in the sun. And obviously, we were taking all of the protocols to really make sure that I didn't get infected. I will tell you that as the week went on last week, as my sister started to improve and kind of just run the course of normal COVID, side effects or whatever, my mom got much worse. And I'll tell you, over the last few days, things have been really, really rough. And not for the reasons you think, not COVID, cough, ventilator, sickness, but the way that this has affected her Alzheimer's and her dementia has been staggering. Our first trip to the hospital was Friday night. I am not, and I don't want it to be perceived that I'm getting on a soapbox and preaching. I'm just going to tell you guys what happened and what we were told, because I think that there are still a lot of people that either think the pandemic's over, they think it never started in the first place, it's not real to them, all of these things. So I'm just going to spell out kind of what happened. So first of all, my mom and my sister, my mom worked in healthcare her whole career. My sister works in healthcare now. So they're both vaxxed and boosted, as is everyone in the family. And we made the decision Friday night that my mom, after speaking to the primary care physician earlier that day, that mom needed to go to the emergency room. So we got her in the car. She was barely able to stay conscious. She was completely just delusional, didn't know where she was, didn't know what was going on, had a fever that would come and go, but she couldn't eat. She didn't want to drink anything. And so we brought her to the emergency room. We were in the ER. They took her vitals. They gave her a COVID test. They took her blood. And we sat in the ER with her Friday night for 5 hours. And we never got inside. We were always in the lobby. They came and took her blood in the lobby. Once they knew from the minute we went in there, we told them she tested positive. They put us in a separate part of the waiting area in the waiting room of the emergency room, so that she could be quarantined off with us. They came in there and took the blood. They came in and took a PCR test. They took all of her vitals, obviously. And we never left that room. And after 5 hours, my mom was barely conscious, shivering, and she doesn't stay up that late anymore. So the later it got, it was almost 2:00 in the morning. She was just totally on another planet and just begging to go home, begging to go anywhere. She couldn't stay awake. She couldn't get comfortable, didn't want to eat or drink anything. So we made the decision to bring her home. And when we went and talked to the staff at the ER, they said that they had a bunch of nurses that had called out sick with COVID, that there were a bunch of beds in the ER they couldn't open because they couldn't staff them with nursing, that they had traumas come in, that they had other people that were sicker than my mom because all of her vitals were really good. She didn't have a fever. Her pulse ox was good. Her blood pressure was good. Like, all of that stuff was good. And there were people that were just sicker than my mom. And so we made the decision to take her home, put her back in her own bed and make her comfortable. And then first thing in the morning, we called the doctor again. So we got up Saturday morning, called the ER where we took her the first time, and they said, we are still underwater. It's going to be hours before she gets seen. Try this hospital. And they sent us to a hospital that was like 20 minutes away. So we called that hospital's emergency room, and they said, we're really busy, but we're not as busy as that hospital. Bring her here. So then Saturday morning, she got brought to the second hospital, and luckily when she got brought into the lobby, they were expecting her and understood what her diagnosis was. They were able to access the labs, the blood work, and the COVID test from the night before. And she immediately got put into an isolation COVID room in the emergency room where they took her vitals again. They took more blood. And That's where she stayed for the next 36 hours. She was fully admitted into the hospital, but they had no hospital beds for her because they had so many nurses that were out sick with COVID that they had parts of the floor of different parts of the hospital that they could not open because they didn't have enough staff because there were so many nurses that were out sick. So they admitted her and kept her in isolation in the emergency room. Up until the point when she was admitted, one of us was allowed to stay with her. My sister is testing negative now and she's been okay. So one of us has been allowed to stay with her. And then once they properly admitted my mom, she was no longer allowed to have visitors because now different attending physicians were coming to check on her. And so to try and keep the doctors as safe as they could, there were no more visitors allowed. I will tell you that if you have a person in your family that is suffering from any level of dementia or early onset Alzheimer's, do everything in your power. And this is just coming from my family's experience. I'm not a doctor, obviously, or a medical expert. I sound like Mike Shue. Do everything in your power to keep them from getting COVID. We have seen in the last 2 weeks, really the last 10 days or 11 days now, since my mom tested positive the first time. My mom has lost as much cognitive ability in the last 10 days as much as she has lost in the last 2 years, in the last 10 days. It has been shocking how quickly this has affected her head and her brain and her ability to form a complete sentence, her ability to have rational thought, her ability to have any kind of linear, notion of time. She now has no idea who we are at all. She at the hospital could not give her birthday, her last name. She could not tell them where she was, that she was in the hospital. She had no idea what was going on. She was discharged and brought home Sunday and was really kind of out of it. And we were kind of hoping that once we got her back into her normal environment and back under her normal routine, that maybe she would start to come back a little bit. The doctors said that when it comes to infections, viruses, anything like that, that even someone that doesn't have dementia or early onset can have this delirium that is usually temporary, based, like a super high fever, stuff like that. But there isn't enough evidence yet about COVID and the vascular system and inflammation for them to be able to say positively that any cognitive decline that my mom has suffered because of COVID on top of her dementia, that it's going to go away and that we're going to get the woman back that we had 2 weeks ago. It has sped up any further future plans and logistics that we had in place for her for the long term. And now we are scrambling to try and figure out what is going on. And so I can just tell you, I know that there are a lot of people, I'm not getting into a political debate about COVID or vaccines or any of that. I'm just going to tell you that from the health officials that we've spoken to, getting vaccinated and boosted saved my mother's life. But we have no idea what the long-term effects are going to be for her cognitive ability. And if she stays where she is right now, any kind of hint of familiarity that we had with her is pretty much gone now. And it has been soul crushing. Going through a week of taking care of 2 family members. And then as my sister recovered, seeing my mom continue to decline, thankfully, things like, the cough, the respiratory stuff, the ventilators, all of the things that we think about with COVID, we didn't get those side effects with my mother, although she doesn't think anything tastes good. So we're assuming that it has affected her sense of smell and taste, but we can't quite get that those answers out of her because she can't make she can't make rational thoughts about things. She can't follow any linear thought to answer even the simplest questions. Just getting her to eat. You know how you make bargains with little kids, just 2 more bites, just 1 more bite. Like that's kind of where we're at right now. Getting her, to in and out of the shower, getting her dressed, like all of these things take 10 times as long now. And it has been really, really hard. So I just want to be able to share my family's experience with this. First of all, I'm so grateful that I didn't get it, so that I have been able to really be able to dedicate so much time, energy, and effort into making sure that she was taken care of. But I really hope that nobody else has to go through what we've been going through the last week and a half, because one of the things about Alzheimer's and dementia is that it's just this slow, steady battle, this slow decline where things level out for a while and then you have a dip and then they level out for a while and you never regain any ground, but it usually is painfully, torturingly slow. The last 10 days have been horrifying. And it's been a real sobering experience for my sister and I to have to fill out legal forms and be asked questions about extreme measures and DNRs and things that we just did not think we were going to have to tackle at this point in my mother's illness. And so if you have a family member that has any kind of slow, systematic cognitive decline, do everything you can to keep them from getting COVID. I'm really hoping that, heaven forbid, they do get it, that they don't get this effect from it, because I would hate to see any other family kind of go through what we're going through right now. And so I really wanted to be able to share that with you guys, because it's something that we've been dealing with here in the War Room for 184 episodes now. And we've ridden through everything, the lockdowns, the reopenings, the testings, the vaccine stuff. This is where Cocktails in the War Room came from, is the reality of my employment change coupled with hitting the brick wall of a pandemic. And there's so much debate and so much propaganda. And like I said, I'm not a medical professional. All I can do is just to share with you my family's experience. And my family is pretty ingrained in the medical community. My family is filled with, nurses, biologists, paramedics, people that have just spent their entire careers in one way or another. I joked over the weekend while I was taking care of my mom that she really wanted me to get into nursing. As a kid, you'll never be out of work. And she was, the most compassionate nurse. She would have been working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all through COVID if she were healthy. And as I was taking care of her, I was like, you should be really glad that I never went into nursing, because I was not given the gift of her bedside manner. It's really hard for me to be able to take care of someone like that. And it's taken everything that I have to be able to just push myself aside in every way, shape, or form, and to really disconnect my feelings and emotions, because you're not allowed to be paralyzed by your own grief. There are things that you need to do to be able to take care of someone that you love, and you can't do that if you're unable to deal with what's sitting in front of you and crippled with sadness. You don't get to feel your emotions in that moment. You're going to deal with them later. And so that's kind of where I've been since last week's episode. It's been mentally and physically taxing and exhausting. And it's been a real wake-up call and very sobering for my sister and I to make these decisions together, to scramble for information, to try and understand, to educate ourselves, to be able to ask the right questions, to be able to advocate on behalf of our mom, and to be able to come to a consensus between the two of us on exactly how we want to handle things moving forward. And that has been really hard. But I also realize I am extremely lucky that I have someone that I can go through this with, that I can share the burden with, and that her and I, meaning my sister and I, don't have a contentious relationship. I don't know how a family where the siblings don't get along would be able to handle this kind of a situation where no one agrees on anything. And it's also something that I wanted to talk to you guys about really quickly, not to get on a soapbox and preach to you guys, but it shocks me when I have these conversations with my friends, how many people I know, married, unmarried, kids, no kids, that stuff doesn't matter to me, that do not have their affairs in order because they think they're young, they're healthy, everything's fine. And I cannot tell you enough how important it is for you to have your wishes written down and understood by your loved ones, and also for your legal documents to be taken care of. For example, when we arrived at the emergency room, we had power of attorney and medical proxy in hand with both of our names on it. Because it's something that if you don't have that, there's a process to try and figure that out, especially when you're making these serious decisions. My mom didn't pick one or the other. She chose for my sister and I to work through it together, understanding that my sister has more medical knowledge than I do. But also understanding that I've always been the calm in the storm, logistical person that can handle crisis and fall apart later. And so my sister and I bring these skill sets where we're like the Wonder Twins and we're both needed in that situation. If you don't have your affairs in order, if you don't have your documents, your wishes legal, written down, signed off, notarized, you have no idea how much harder that is going to be for the people that love you when they're trying to advocate for you. And it could be COVID. It just could be some kind of infection. It could be an allergic reaction you never had before that just showed up one day. It could be a car accident. It could be some kind of terrible accident at work. Whatever it is, that doesn't matter. But thankfully, we have all of my mom's affairs in orders. And because we grew up in a family of first responders, we've had some pretty frank dinner discussions growing up, and we're very well aware of my mother's wishes long before she got sick, which is also something that, you need to make sure that people know. And I can tell you that it made things so much easier for my sister and I this weekend. We had a conversation with the doctor about, heroic measures, DNRs, kind of all of that kind of stuff. And the doctor gave us some really good advice. He said, these decisions are not about you and how you feel about them. All you are is a mouthpiece for your mother who cannot speak for herself. These decisions are not about you. They are about her and her wishes. And she empowered you to be there in that place to express her wishes to me. And so that kind of took the pressure off of, are we making the right decision? What if something, this or that we were very well aware of my mother's decisions and her wishes. And so in that moment, my sister and I found a lot of peace in being able to communicate those wishes with the doctor, because we knew that all we were doing was relaying information. We weren't deciding this. And I'm so happy that we had those discussions with my mother while she was healthy, because I can tell you that you think, oh, well, it's not going to matter or this or that, but you are leaving agonizing decisions for your family and your loved ones if they don't know your wishes, because then they are going to second guess the decisions they make on your behalf. So please, you can go online for like $50 or $100 if you don't have a lot of money to hire a lawyer and at least put some of this down. Write it down. Make sure that the people that love you, make sure that they're aware that they are the ones that you are going to entrust with these decisions, and then make sure that they know what your decisions are. Because the last 10 days would have been so much worse for my sister and I had we not had those things in place. We don't have it all figured out. Trust me, we're still scrambling every day and have been for a couple of years now since the reality of this situation has really presented itself. But, Brian says, very heavy topic tonight. Wow, got me thinking. I am by no means trying to bring you guys down. I'm just trying to impart life lessons that I've learned and put into practice in the last 10 days. And it's something that has helped us sleep at night. It's something that has really made it a little bit easier. And we thought we had a lot more time before we were going to be in this place having these conversations. And then, the way that my mom and COVID have decided to dance together has made things really, really complicated. So I'm sorry that I got super serious with you guys tonight, but it was really important for me to be able to share that with you guys so that you could keep an eye on your loved ones. If you know people, friends, family, whatever, I just wanted to be able to share this experience so that we can hopefully maybe, help one family kind of avoid, everything that we're going through. Brianna says, love that. So many people impose their own wishes over their actual loved ones who cannot make them for themselves. Seriously. David says, Mama Bear legal forms, $80 to $130. What's up, Richie? There are, it is a wonder of modern technology that there are these legal services online that you basically just go in and fill out a bunch of fields, and then for a certain amount of money off your credit card, it'll spit out legal forms. And then literally all you have to do is just take them to a notary and have them signed off. And there you go. Obviously keep digital copies in places and then have physical copies with you if you're going to need them. We felt really good being able to walk into the hospital and have those documents in hand because there were literally no questions. It helped us navigate the red tape of the medical system with so much more ease. Although I will say this, for anybody that thinks that our medical system is fine, you haven't navigated the medical system. And this is no fault of the nurses or the doctors that gave my mother amazing care. Tracy, the nurse, was just phenomenal. There were so many doctors, the people, the triage people, even the people that just worked in the lobby in the hospital. You could see it on there. They're all exhausted. They are all exhausted. And our healthcare system wasn't great before the pandemic, but these people are doing their best to hold on. And there's this new surge with COVID, and it is affecting people, and the healthcare workers are getting sick. Thankfully, if they're vaccinated, they're not going to be out sick very long. But there are so many nurses, they were telling us at the hospital, that are either taking early retirement or they are changing careers, getting into, pharmaceuticals or just something else because they are completely burnt out because of what this has done over the last couple of years. And we learned a lot trial by fire over the last 10 days. I'll tell you that. Makes me want to drink, actually. Hold on. Eric says, my grandparents are both in their 70s, and I'm always concerned if they get COVID. I'm afraid it would be detrimental. Look, it depends on the person. It depends on what kind of comorbidities they have. It depends on what kind of pre-existing conditions they have. There is not a lot of expertise on how it's affecting the brain long-term, especially for someone with a diagnosis like my mom. And Jim says, very good advice, MC. As a hospice nurse, I've been involved in Zoom meetings with families in different parts of the country who were in disagreement with each other regarding the care for their loved ones. I'm telling you guys, I have been so fortunate that my sister and I have tackled my mom's illness together as a united front. And if there is room for negotiation in a situation, we realize that we are having these conversations based on what's best for mom. And so what's best for her always wins out. And, sharing that responsibility has made things so much easier for me, both mentally and physically and emotionally. And and I know the same for her. I can't imagine what it would be like if her and I didn't see eye to eye. I just wouldn't, I would not be able to handle not only navigating everything that's going on with my mom, but then having a contentious relationship and battling my sister over the decisions. I just can't even imagine. Excuse me. Whew, mowed the lawn today. Woohoo! Pollen is fun. Trina says, I work in an office. Last week we had half the company out with COVID. Donna says, my parents are in their 80s, one with COPD. My father-in-law is 100, and I'm constantly worried, especially since he has not been vaccinated, says Michelle. Brianna says, my VA is so short-staffed. So many people have quit and switched out of healthcare. It's just, oh yeah. So physically, Paula, just to kind of finish up the story with mom. Physically, my mom is so much better. She's up, she's moving around. Mentally, we saw a little bit of improvement over yesterday now that she slept the night in her own bed and has been in her own environment, but still staggeringly different than she was 10 days ago. So that's just everything that's been going on. So I wanted to fill you in on kind of everything that's happened since the last time we got together. I want to move on with the show because we got a lot to talk about. So we got to do a cocktail recipe. And I thought, since a lot of the early things in our gardens are kind of coming back, and one of the things that you learn by experience, that if you plant mint in your yard, once it's in the ground, you're never getting rid of it. And so I have mint kind of in the border of my garden, not only because I just love it, but also it's really good as a deterrent to kind of keep deer and some other animals away because they don't like it. And so I planted it around the perimeter of my garden, and sometimes it makes it under the fence. And so when I hit it with the lawnmower, it smells like gum. But mint is starting to grow out of the garden now. So I got a recipe in our handy dandy recipe book, because every week we like to go over cocktail recipes here in the War Room. This is a mint daiquiri, it's called, because I wanted you to be able to put that mint in your yard to use. 2 ounces of white rum and a half an ounce of Cointreau and a handful of mint leaves and juice from half a lime. And then also a teaspoon of superfine castor sugar, it says. Blend the ingredients with crushed ice and then strain it into a cocktail glass and serve. So not quite a mint julep. That's different. This is a mint daiquiri. But I like all of that stuff. A little Cointreau, a little white rum, some mint leaves, lime juice, and some sugar. I'm all about that. We might have to try that this summer. So that is called a mint daiquiri. If you want to go and pull some of that unruly mint out of your garden and try to put yourself out on the back deck on a warm summer day, or maybe you just finished mowing the lawn or something and you want to have a nice, refreshing summer cocktail, I thought that would be a great thing. All right, let's talk about last week's podcast episode, because I don't know why Mikey Wengren, we're going to have to... Why can't I get rid of Mikey Wengren? Oh, there he is. That's a typo, so drink. Social. First typo of the show. Will, it doesn't say to muddle it. Hold on. Let me see what it says. That's a good question. It says blend the ingredients with crushed ice. So I think you're mixing it like a daiquiri. I don't think you're muddling the mint. I think you're putting it in a blender. So all of that, the white rum, the Cointreau, the mint leaves, the juice of half a lime, and the sugar, and you're putting it all in a blender so it gets that daiquiri consistency. Thank you for asking about the muddler, because I totally missed that reference that this is getting put in a blender. So you're getting kind of a mint slush with rum and lime and sugar. I like the idea of it being frozen like that even better. And crushed ice is goat anyway. All right. So last week's episode was episode 101 featuring Geezer Butler from Black Sabbath. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. I loved having him on. The part of the interview where Geezer is talking about how him and his wife named their 13 cats and 5 dogs after rappers literally almost knocked me on the floor, because I was not expecting that answer. As he and I were talking, I know he's such an animal activist. And when he told me that heartbreaking story about his dog as a kid, I just always love the stories of where people get the names for their pets. I think it says a lot about them. And so I felt kind of stupid in the moment, kind of asking Geezer Butler that question. And as soon as he started to answer and he started laughing, I was like, he's laughing at me for asking a stupid question. And then when he laughed, I realized he was laughing because the answer was so funny. And I was so happy that I asked the question, because when he started rattling off the fact that he has got a dog named Snoop and Missy for Missy Elliott and like all of these different rappers, I was like, who would have known that about Geezer Butler? That's why you have the Mistress Carrie podcast. Seriously. Yeah, Joe, it's like a Slurpee kind of. Elsa says it was amazing. Michael says mint in a blender. That means you're getting your fiber in your cocktail. True. Let's see. Did you talk about his wife and house sitting? Jonathan wants to know. I have not heard from Gloria Butler yet, who is Geezer's wife of decades. But I did volunteer to house sit for them, so I haven't heard from them yet. But if Geezer is watching tonight here in the War Room, my offer still stands to house sit for you. I would love that. Wasn't expecting that from Geezer. Penny says, neither was I. I was dying. I love just kind of talking to him about all of the different things that he has going on. I think we talked a little bit about this last week, that when you talk to band members, I never want to make them feel like, well, I'm just talking to them because I couldn't get the singer. And so I'm going to ask them about the singer because that's who I really wanted to know about anyway, which is why I didn't focus the interview or any of the questions on Ozzy and Ozzy's solo album, because to my knowledge, Geezer's not even on it. So it wasn't even really worth asking about it. I wanted to talk to Geezer about what was going on in his life. And you know, the fact that he was so discombobulated moving and trying to unpack all of his stuff and talking about trying to find archives to put in his upcoming box set, and that he couldn't find anything because he's moving and everything is lost, and that he's got shoes that he can't find the match to. And I just love that part of the conversation, because we look at a guy like Geezer Butler, right? Is this rock god, this metal god. I mean, I love the fact that he told us the story about where the term heavy metal came from. And then you hear these stories about his life, and that it's completely normal, that Geezer Butler like just moved and everything's in boxes and he can't fucking find anything. We've all lived that. And, you know, hearing him tell the story about his favorite dog growing up, we've all had that pet from our childhood that, you know, we lost, that crushed us. And so to hear him talking just about these personal things, those are the parts of the interviews that I love the most. What's up, Jacqueline? Jacqueline joining us. Mark says, I named Sandy after the Grease movie. See, there you go. I named my yellow lab Sandy. Yeah, see, that's great. So last week's episode, I absolutely loved. It was so great to have him on the show. So if you haven't heard it yet, go back and listen to episode 101 featuring Geezer Butler from Black Sabbath. This week, my guest is someone that probably would never have even ended up in the kind of band that he is if it wasn't for Black Sabbath. I think if you're going to draw the line of influence, it's incredibly easy to draw the line from Geezer and Black Sabbath to my guest this week, Chris Motionless from Motionless in White. Motionless in White has a brand new album that's coming out on June 10th. Oh, there's a second typo. The guys from Apocalyptica were still on the screen. Damn it. That was the other thing, that Geezer is making an appearance on the Apocalyptica track as well. So Chris Motionless, the lead singer from Motionless in White, cites Metallica, as you'll hear in this week's episode, as like the driving force inspiration for him wanting to start a band and become a musician. And Metallica cites Black Sabbath with being part of the reason why they all wanted to be musicians and get into rock and roll in the first place. So as we go back and talk to some of the legends in music, it's easy to kind of see the evolutionary growth of rock and roll, of metal, of, you know, whatever the genre of rock and whatever label you want to put on it, to be able to see that, you know, a band like Motionless in White, who is a little more melodic, it's very dark, you know, citing people like Marilyn Manson and Korn as influences as well. But none of those bands would exist without Black Sabbath or Metallica either. And Chris Motionless, I'd never met him before. We had never, been introduced at a show or anything like that. And I caught him the morning after he got off tour in his hometown, just outside of Scranton, Pennsylvania, born and raised. And we had a great conversation over coffee. And he was so nice and sweet and just so open. And we had some really great conversations about like music theory and working with producers. And he and I have very similar temperament in a lot of ways that you hear in this week's episode. And, as I was kind of asking him these questions, he was just laughing because he was like, this is not going to be a short answer. And I was like, it doesn't need to be a short answer. Just answer the question however you want to answer it. And he was awesome. I absolutely love talking to him. I think that this is going to be a really interesting podcast episode, even if you've never heard the band before, even if you've never heard the music before, even if you don't necessarily even like the band's music or that style of, like gothic rock or melodic rock, like whatever you want to call it. He's just such an interesting guy. And we had such an engaging conversation. And especially about the East Coast, West Coast thing, because he grew up just outside of Scranton, Pennsylvania, about the temperament of people from the East Coast, and just songwriting and influence and kind of navigating this genre of entertainment. We just had a really cool conversation, and I couldn't have loved him more. He's awesome. So episode 102 of the Mistress Carrie podcast goes live at midnight tonight, and it features Chris Motionless from Motionless in White. And also the new record is coming on June 10th. So you can pre-order it right now. Want to remind you that if you subscribe or follow the Mistress Carrie podcast, not only do you get the weekly episodes, not only do you get the bonus episodes, and you get the after action reports when we have a guest here in the War Room, but you also get the sit reps, which are the situation reports you get every Monday through Friday with all of your rock news, music headlines, industry info, entertainment updates, all of that stuff. And I want to make sure that you guys don't forget to subscribe and follow the podcast somewhere where you would find it easy to listen to podcasts, because the Facebook mechanism for podcasting, we talked a little bit about it last week, is going away in the coming weeks. Meaning that if you get up in the morning and you hit the mobile app for Facebook and the Mistress Carrie podcast and sit rep episodes show up on your timeline, and then you just have to click play on the player, that mechanism within Facebook, Meta announced, is going away. They're going in a different direction. I don't think being able to embed and incorporate podcast content served them as well as they were hoping. And I think it's great because the episodes just show up. They only show up on the mobile app. So if you get on your desktop and you check out Mistress Carrie's Facebook page, the page you're on right now watching this, the episodes don't show up there, but on the mobile application of Facebook, they do. And in the coming weeks, they're just going to discontinue the embedding of the podcast without warning. So you got to subscribe to the podcast somewhere else, wherever it is that you want to listen to it. And there are a ton of different places to do it. So it doesn't matter what kind of phone you have. It doesn't matter how you listen to music. The podcast is available everywhere. You just got to search Mistress Carrie. You're going to see that artwork, and then just hit follow and subscribe, and then you will get updated when all of the new stuff gets released. All right, we are still holding strong at 130 countries that are listening to the Mistress Carrie podcast, and our neighbors to the north, Canada, are still holding strong at the number 2 listening nation of the podcast. All right, we got some shows that got announced today that I want to tell you about. Godsmack making a huge announcement today. Godsmack is playing at the MGM Theater at Fenway coming up Saturday, August 27th. That's the theater that is behind center field at Fenway Park. That used to be that empty parking lot at the end of Lansdowne Street on the right where all the satellite trucks for the Red Sox games used to park. That's now a 5,000-seat theater. And it's not open yet, but it's getting ready to open this summer. Godsmack is playing this show as a fundraiser for the Scars Foundation, which is Godsmack's nonprofit, and also the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. Now, the show got announced today. Tickets go on sale this Friday at 10 a.m., and all of the details and the link to get tickets are up on the event calendar at mistresscarrie.com. Also, Ghost, Mastodon, and Spirit Box are going out on the Imperator. That's what they're calling it. And it's going to roll into the Dunkin' Donuts Center in Providence coming up on September 12th. And those tickets are getting ready to go on sale this Friday as well. That is also up on the event calendar at mistresscarrie.com. Don't forget the Tattoo the Earth Festival is rolling into the Palladium for one day only. The Palladium Outdoors in Worcester, Anthrax, Black Label Society, Hatebreed, At the Gates, Municipal Waste, and Enforced are all going to be there. The tickets are on sale now. Stained is going to be at the Mass Mutual Center in Springfield on September 11th. Those tickets are on sale right now. Let's see. Shinedown, Jelly Roll, and John Harvey at the Xfinity Center coming up on September 13th. Congratulations to Jelly Roll, by the way, who was on episode 90 of the Mistress Carrie podcast, because Dead Man Walking is number 1 on the rock chart for the second week in a row this week. So congratulations to the big man. A huge deal for Jelly Roll. And he just announced that he is headlining the Bridgestone Arena in his hometown of Nashville coming up in December, which is a dream come true for him. And the tickets go on sale this week. And Jelly Roll's on a roll, pardon the pun. Weird Al and Emo Phillips are going to be at Indian Ranch coming up August 5th. Alice in Chains, Breaking Benjamin, and Bush are going to be at the Xfinity Center on October 8th. And Wilson is out in support of her solo album, Fierce Bliss. She's going to be at Indian Ranch on July 23rd. Aaron Lewis will be at Indian Ranch as a solo artist with his band, The Stateliners, on September 3rd. Let's see. The Knotfest Roadshow rolls into the Dunkin' Donuts Center this weekend, and also that's in Providence, and then at the SNHU Arena in Manchester this weekend as well. Pussifer's at the House of Blues on June 28th. Joe Satriani, who was on the podcast, is going to be at the Orpheum on November 5th. Five Finger Death Punch. By the way, their new album is coming out on August 17th. It's called Afterlife. Five Finger, along with Megadeth, The Who, and Fire from the Gods, will be at the Xfinity Center on September 18th. And AWOL Nation will be at the House of Blues on October 23rd. Royal Blood is next Tuesday, May 24th at the House of Blues. Hailstorm, The Pretty Reckless, The Warning, and Lilith Czar at the Leaderbank Pavilion on July 19th. ZZ Top will be at the Leaderbank Pavilion just a few days later on July 22nd. Extreme at Indian Ranch on September 2nd. Hampton Beach Casino Ballroom on September 3rd before they open up for Aerosmith on September 8th. The Red Hot Chili Peppers will be at Fenway on September 10th. Turnstile is going to be at the Palladium coming up on the 21st, so just a few days away. Flogging Molly and the Interrupters will be at the Leaderbank Pavilion July 1st. Rob Zombie, Mudvayne, Powerman 5000, Static X, they are all going to be at the Xfinity Center on July 30th. The Stadium Tour is at Fenway featuring Motley Crue, Def Leppard, Poison, Joan Jett, August 5th and 6th. Collective Soul and Switchfoot at Indian Ranch on August 6th. The Black Crowes at Tanglewood. Blondie and the Damned. Evanescence and Korn. I'm telling you, the events calendar at mistresscarrie.com is just out of control. It's just insane. Want to remind you, a couple documentaries are coming out as well. The George Carlin documentary is coming out in 2 parts on HBO, May 20th and 21st. And then the Bob Saget documentary, which was a tribute to Bob Saget that was filmed, I believe, at the Comedy Store after he passed. That is going to hit Netflix on June 10th. So there's a lot going on. Good night, Paula. There's just so much going on. It's out of control. So keep your eyes on the event calendar at mistresscarrie.com. Okay, it's been working so well. I want to give away some more tickets. I love the fact that the War Room family are taking advantage of some of these free tickets that I have. Obviously, people with Mistress Carrie backstage passes get first cracks at these tickets, but every once in a while I'm able to get some tickets together to be able to give out here in the War Room. And this is what's going on. Mark says the Celtics are kicking ass. Yes, go green. So I have a few pairs of tickets left to go to the Knotfest Roadshow this weekend at the Dunkin' Donuts Center in Providence. It's Slipknot, Cypress Hill, Horror. And if you would like these tickets while supplies last, and I'm going to fill the request in order that I receive them. If you want to go and see Slipknot on May 21st at the Dunkin' Donuts Center in Providence, go to mistresscarrie.com, click the contact button, and put Knotfest in the subject line. And I will do my best to fill as many of these ticket requests as I have. I don't have a ton of these tickets. There have been weeks where I've had more tickets to give away. This week, I only have a few pairs, but I want to be able to give them away to people here in the War Room that want to go. If you've never seen Slipknot live, you are in for it. They are amazing. Corey Taylor last week, announced the Taylor Foundation, which is a nonprofit that he started to aid local organizations that are going to help military personnel and first responders that are battling post-traumatic stress. And I thought that was an amazing announcement coming from Corey Taylor. So if you've never seen Slipknot, they're going to be there with Cypress Hill, which, by the way, if you have not seen the Cypress Hill documentary on Showtime yet, it is fantastic. But I got these tickets. Go to mistresscarrie.com, click the contact button, put Knotfest into the subject line. I need your full name and your email address, and I will do my best to send you Knotfest Roadshow tickets. All right. Want to remind you guys about some events that are coming up. The Hair Fest, the 4th annual 100 FM The Pike Hair Fest is going to be at Indian Ranch in Webster on July 30th. 5 different tribute bands. Music starts at noon. Mike Shue, Chuck Perks, and I are all going to be there. The very next day, the Pike presents Tesla at Indian Ranch. So this weekend is going to be insane. And then that fall, September 10th, the Rock Fest is going to be at Indian Ranch as well, with Draw the Line and just a massive list of tribute artists as well. All of these are up on the, why is that like that? All of these events are on the event calendar at mistresscarrie.com. And something else that you will find up on the website, this is new this week. You can join me live on Saturday, June 25th at American Harley-Davidson in Leominster from 11 to 1 for their open house. So if you're looking for a place to get out on the bike, you're looking for a little destination ride, you just want to maybe do a little shopping, maybe you're looking for a bike yourself, or you need some motor clothes, some accessories, or you're just looking for a reason to just come out and hang out with me, I am going to be at American Harley-Davidson in Leominster from 11 to 1 that day. And you can feel free to get all of the information. It's up at mistresscarrie.com. So a lot of typos on the screen tonight. Fuck. All right. Mail call. As you can imagine, it's been a little rough this week. So I was not able to check the mail this week. So my apologies. We'll get to the mail call next week, I promise. Want to let you guys know, T-shirt Brian is a fucking badass. And I'm making a trip to T-shirt Brian tomorrow to pick up all of the sizes that we sold out of for the tank tops. And I am also restocking the Cocktails in the War Room hoodies, the sizes that I haven't had available in the store. Those will all be back up on the website by tomorrow night. So if you have not been able to order a tank top in the size you want, or if you placed an order for a tank top and I messaged you to tell you that I didn't have them in stock because I wasn't able to update the inventory after the big gig fast enough, I'm going to have a whole new run of tank tops to pick up tomorrow. So all of the tank tops are going to be in stock, and all of the hoodie sizes will be in stock on the website tomorrow night. So feel free, shop away for your tank tops. You guys said you wanted them, and you weren't kidding, because they're selling like crazy. And don't forget, you can always get Mistress Carrie merch at Joe's Albums in Worcester and Northampton. If you are celebrating your birthday today, you share it with a lot of cool people. Taj Mahal, legend. Enya, Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails, Dave Abruzzi's from Pearl Jam, and Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age, all born on this date. So happy birthday. Happy unbirthday to Keith. Cheers to you. And I also want to remind you, this is the last week to get birthday cards for Sergeant Victor Butler of Cranston, Rhode Island. He turns 100 years old this weekend. He is the last surviving Tuskegee Airman in Rhode Island, and he asked for cards from around the country for his 100th birthday, and I thought it would be amazing. Brianna actually tipped me off that this was happening, and thank you to her for always kind of letting me know these cool things are going on. And so that is the address to be able to send Sergeant Butler a birthday card. It's also up in my blog at mistresscarrie.com. But the family is accepting cards, and you've still got time this week to get the birthday cards in before his birthday this weekend. So I wanted to I wanted to remind you guys that if you haven't put a card in the mail, maybe get the kids, the grandkids to draw some pictures, whatever it is, get them in the mail now because his birthday is this weekend. So let's see. And I wanted to remind you guys about the Mistress Carrie Backstage Pass. Now, Backstage Pass holders, I'm going to message you guys later this week about when we're going to get together for our monthly live stream. Because I'm going to be doing a little traveling this weekend, and next weekend is a holiday weekend. So, first of all, Backstage Pass holders, we are going to get together for a monthly live stream. We do that every month. We also, you guys can submit podcast interview questions. You get travel blog updates. So when I get on the plane later this week, I'll be taking you guys with me. You get early access to event tickets, exclusive concert ticket giveaways. Right now, the Backstage Pass holders have access to Pussifer tickets, Royal Blood tickets, Knotfest Roadshow tickets, Rob Zombie tickets, Korn and Evanescence tickets. Those are all up for grabs for Backstage Pass holders. If you don't have a Backstage Pass, go to patreon.com/Mistress Carrie or just click the link at mistresscarrie.com and you can get one. It's pretty easy. I also wanted to make sure I let you guys know that we're going on deployment again next week because I'm going to be traveling. So next week I will be taking the War Room on the road. I'm not sure exactly where I'm going to do the War Room yet. Last time I was anticipating doing it in a hotel room and I ended up taking you guys to a bar. So who knows where we're going to do the show next week, but we're going out on the road. We'll do it live. So that is happening next Tuesday for episode 185. And just a reminder, here are all the places that you can find me online, but all of these links are available at mistresscarrie.com. So there you go. That's everything that's going on. Good night, Elsa. Once again, I want to thank Latini Creative Solutions for continuing to support Cocktails in the War Room. You can find them at latinicreative.com if you need any kind of new artwork. You want to freshen up your company's website with graphics, social media stuff, rebranding, all of that kind of stuff. They are absolutely amazing to work with. Mark says, buy us drinks if you take us to the bar. Will says, safe travels. Have a fun trip, says Marcy. War Room Roadshow. Exactly. We're going on deployment. So I apologize for starting the show on such a serious note this week, but the War Room has always been about being able to joke around, to talk about what makes us laugh, to talk about what makes us happy. It's also always been a place where we can support each other. And I think it's a great place for us to be able to share things that we've learned. And, as we kind of navigate the craziness over the last couple of years and move forward, we're not just going to wake up one day and like a light switch goes off and it's like, okay, COVID's done. It's shown over and over again to morph, to change the world that we're living in. I think if we don't come out of this, and you guys know that this topic comes up all the time on the podcast, we need to come out of this better, more informed, more educated, just having our shit together a little bit more. And so these are life lessons that I'm learning trial by fire, as is my sister. And so I really, just kind of want to be able to share some of this with you guys and to give you guys a platform to be able to share stuff that you've learned, where resources are available, just knowledge and to be able to share it in a digital room with a bunch of people that are open to receiving new information. Eric says, Carrie, we're here for you, and vice versa. Absolutely. Donna says, don't lick anything weird and wash your damn hands. You know what? It's more true now. If there are any regrets of the last couple of years, I love the fact that the OG War Room shirts are out there and that there's only so many of them. And I love seeing them when people are wearing them. But making the decision to retire that saying on the shirts, I feel like maybe was a little premature, because 2 years later, we're still dealing with all of this shit. Exactly. Who is displaying her? As far as I know, the family was of the Pinless. She did not want to be in public. I don't know what you're talking about there, Tracy. Let's see. What's up, Ryan? Old school. Don't forget to wash your hands. Don't look anything weird. Eat the blueberry cobbler. Let's bring it back, says Marcy. We might have to. Maybe on something different so that The OG War Room shirts will just always be the OG War Room shirts, but maybe we'll bring back the slogan on something else. William says, my mom has been gone just over 6 years now. So sorry to hear that, William. I can't imagine. I mean, that is, they say that is the natural order of things, right? That parents aren't supposed to bury their children, but it doesn't make it easy. Old age doesn't make it easy. Illness doesn't make it easy. Just losing people you love, it's never easy. Jacqueline says, I lost my OG shirt during a move. I'm still pissed. Those were awesome. Jonathan says, my shirt shrunk. What? Donna, tank tops? Yes, there are tank tops. They're restocked as of tomorrow. I'm going to pick them up. Read that again, Carrie. The comments are going by too fast, Keith. I can't. Let's see. Make the slogan as a sticker. That's funny. Yesterday was 3 years that my mom passed. It's tough, says Brianna. It is. And I'm sorry. Commemorating those days, it's not like an anniversary you want to celebrate, but it's kind of hard to ignore when you lose somebody like that, when the date comes up again, Let's see. The slogan on the tank tops. Oh, yes, that's a good idea. I'll be wearing my OG shirt on Saturday at Knotfest. Fantastic. My t-shirt shrank, and other fantasies. Oh, my God. All right, you guys. We're going to end the show. Don't forget, episode 102 of the Mistress Carrie podcast is going live at midnight tonight, featuring Chris Motionless from Motionless in White. I will join you guys from a deployment location for the War Room next Tuesday night. I will see you guys then. And for everybody with a Mistress Carrie Backstage Pass, keep your eyes on Patreon, and we'll figure out how we're going to get together for our live stream coming up. All right, guys. Good night. Go Celtics.